Yeah, you want to just get real with the whole situation. The real thing is that there's about to be a massive war that's going to happen, and they're going to try to take our kids. You see, the kids that we've raised, we struggled to raise, and you scrimp and you save, and you got to pay for their clothes and food, and you want to raise them right, and you're trying to make sure that they're not watching garbage all the time, and that they don't want to become garbage when they get older. We have these children in our care that we love. These are our children. These are our sons and our daughters that grow up to be neighbors and friends of others in the society. This is exactly what a civilized society is. This is what it means to be a member of one, to be productive. And so when you have the government that comes in and says, especially after these past 10 years that we've been in, after the past 10 years or 15 years, rather, that we've been in, possibly even almost 20 since 2008. And if you want to even go back and even further, I'd even say since the 20s, 1920s, when the Federal Income Tax Act was, the amendment was placed on that for every working soul in America, which is wrong to do, to take money from people like that for working. But that's everything has been asked of us. Okay, so they ask our permission, and we've just handed over all the power to these people, right? And so what they've done is there's been a big plan in place for many, many years, for over 100 years. This plan has been in place, and it's going to happen no matter what, right? Unfortunately, they didn't think about the willingness of the people to understand choice. It's your willingness to understand, oh, I have a choice in all this. Yes, we have a choice. So if and when, because they're going to actually do it as they did in Vietnam with the draft, they're going to try to draft our children. They're going to try to take our kids from us. As again, we work every day. We have to afford to live and raise our kids and provide them with the best upbringing and the best chances at proper development. And to have a government come in, either you want to put names and faces to these people, because there are names and faces to these people. A government is not just a faceless entity. It's made up of people that we put into power. Sometimes they get placed into power, depending on who you ask, as far as, coin on the spire raise may could do that one. So you have to speak in a lingo nowadays that'll get underneath of a radar, which is also concerning. But what you need to understand, and I hope you do, is that it is all a choice. The draft is not going to happen for me. I am not going to let my children go into that. Over my dead body, they're going to get my children. Okay, I'll handcuff them. They'll be in my home. If they ever try to do it on my street, they'll stop at pretty much the first house that they get to. Because I can tell you, the struggles it takes to raise a child, if you have children, you're aware of this. Finances are tight. Schedules are tight. Tensions are tight. The learning process has been jacked up for years now because of the jab situation and lockdowns and everything. So the struggles that we've had to go through to keep our children safe and sane and on the right track during all this, and now to just have somebody swoop in and scoop them up and say, we're going to put a uniform on them and a weapon in their hand and march them out as if they're toy soldiers that just get knocked down in a little game that children are playing on the other side of this thing. And that's all that's going on is wrong. They're going to take our kids? No, I don't think so. It's a choice, ladies and gentlemen. And the choice, I'm sure, the children are not going to want to go. You're up to 18. They could put the draft into at any age. If they're asking for our permission, right? If they've already asked for your permission for children up to 16 to 18 or whatever it is for the draft, they can go all the way up to the age of 36, like they did in Russia, or the Ukraine, where they start their little draft thing went all the way up to like middle-aged men, 45 or something like that. That could be hearsay, but the point is that it's once they ask permission and they open up the gates even wider, and people are just allowing that much power over you, your family, and your future. This isn't just about me and my kids. This is about my entire lineage. Everybody that's fought their way up and worked hard and raised their kids through adverse situations, and it's been that way for, like I said, since the 20s. But in reality, life's always difficult. But we have technology that lets us live a little bit easier nowadays. And I'm hoping, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure this stuff out. Like, wait a minute now, something that I've worked so hard to protect, you're just going to come in and try to take, and not only take, but guaranteed to destroy. Guaranteed to destroy, because every child that went off, and I say child because there was 18, 19, 20-year-old kids going off to even Afghanistan, you know, underdeveloped minds, brains, underdeveloped nervous systems that were just on the edge of being complete, or at least wired up, you know, properly in the fashion that it should be for that individual, was disrupted when you're thrown into a wartime situation like that. That high stakes, live or die, you know, everything, you're on the edge. Now, don't let that happen to your kid. Does that sound enticing to anybody? These kids are going to come back jacked up. That's going to be an even bigger problem. And we already know that the government doesn't take care of the veterans. I mean, it's been a big problem. Okay, maybe you should say it. Maybe you can say, no, I think the VA is great. It works for me. Okay, but then there's a lot of Vietnam vets that believe otherwise. It's about the wars. It's about, okay, you're going to set up a situation and you're going to drop human beings into that meat grinder because some man in a high tower smoking a $200 cigar, drinking a $75 single malt, and he's just laughing his ass off because it's all a numbers game. To him, oh, we lost 4,000 soldiers. That's nothing, because in the grand scheme of things, it's just a game to these people. They're not getting my kids. I want to reiterate that one more time. It is a choice. And if anything matters to you, it's your freedom of choice. What are you going to do? Are you going to hand over your children? Could you imagine the police or the military rolling down your street, forcefully making us open up our doors and hug our kids as we release them to the military, as we release them to that which is going to destroy them? Guaranteed. The kids are never going to be right, which means the future of your family's not going to be as strong. Why? We're fighting wars that don't need to be fought. People are dying that don't need to die. This goes on and on. And until we as a people are strong enough to make that choice cohesively, to say, it's okay, I'm not going to do it, and I stand with my neighbor and my brother when they say I won't do it, and we stand together, and we stand together down my block, and we stand together in my entire neighborhood, and then we stand together in my entire quadrisection, and then we stand together in my county, my city, my county, and then we stand together, because then you start seeing numbers. You start seeing numbers of people. Oh my, there's a lot of people that are now saying no. And then you're going to understand that the power comes in us, the public, the general public here. We are the hardworking. We keep this country afloat. They're going to do what we want. We're not doing what they're telling us to do. They're telling us to pay income taxes. They send that money to where? Other countries. Other programs that most people don't agree with. Then they're going to tell you, they're going to regulate you. You can't live how you want to live on your land. And then they're going to tell you, you're going to have to live under harsh, high, expensive conditions. And we have no choice about that. And then they're going to tell you, we're going to take your children from you. And we're going to destroy your family. That's essentially what they're doing. The government will destroy your family if you let them. Yeah, I said that. I said that. And I'm not the only one, and it's okay. Again, you start one house, I agree with you. The next house, I agree with you too. Then that's one street. Then the neighborhood, the city, the county, the state. That's where the strength is. Okay.